Hey, an old friend is back. We have our old friend back. The travel has been very difficult on my old friend. My coffee with Ken mug is hurting. My coffee with Ken mug is hurting. Hi, MPJ. Got one person on. Hello, Lisa Bastion. My audience has just doubled. That would be okay. That'd be okay. If it's me and just a few people, it'd be a nice intimate talk this morning. Hello, B-Man. Hello, Young Doe. Hello, RJ. Hello, user. Excuse me. I personally don't like when people are coughing a ton. I was never really that worried about COVID at all. But I still just don't, the sound of people coughing. And I worked in a restaurant recently, and the sound of people coughing near food kind of yucked me out. And I left Yellowstone National Park and have been riding my scooter back to Chicago for the last 4 days, I think, 3 or 4 days, 3 days maybe. And started getting a little cold, little congestion, little chest congestion right before I took off. I think it's starting to loosen up, not to give you too many details. Is South Dakota peaceful? I would say the Great Plains are peaceful. There's a reason they're called the Great Plains, and I don't think you can experience them. I guess you could go over horseback or you could walk them, but riding a scooter through them, whether it be Nebraska or South Dakota or even, parts of Wyoming. I call Wyoming bleak. But honestly, parts of Montana felt that way too. Well, yes, South Dakota is peaceful. I rode through the capital the other day. Capital is a beautiful little city called Pierre. And good morning, Paige. And I believe it has a population of 12,000 people. And I would guess that out of all the state capitals, I would imagine 12,000 has to be the smallest state capital. So I'm going to say South Dakota, Pierre, is the smallest state capital. I don't know, but I was shocked it only had 12,000 people. Let me tell you, I was a little disappointed. I stopped for gas in Pierre. Was filling up. There was a McDonald's across the street, which I may bring up in a bit. I may bring up right now, but maybe I want my coffee first. But anyway, there was this McDonald's across the way. I was looking to get something to eat. And when you're riding through South Dakota or Montana or what have you, you're lucky to find a gas station every 50 or 80 miles or what have you. And if you're looking to get something to eat or a cup of coffee, anything beyond, gas station food, you're at risk. And I took a chance yesterday in Pierre, South Dakota. There was a McDonald's across from me where I was filling up my gas and doing my push-ups, of course. But I decided to skip that McDonald's and see what else would be out there. Really hoping there'd be a Starbucks that I could sit down and get a nice cup of coffee and relax for a while. So I rode through the town, and the town started getting thinner and thinner, and lo and behold, I had to keep riding because I was out of Pierre very quickly, and I was a little disappointed. But anyway, good morning to you. My name is Ken Tracy, and this is Coffee with Ken. I think it's Monday morning. I believe it's July 29th. It is 6:09 a.m. Happy Monday. And by the way, I rode out to Yellowstone across the country I don't know, 2.5 months ago, I never changed my clock on my watch or my time on my watch or the time on my bike. So now when I say it's 6:09, you, who I assume are Central Standard Time people, I don't know why I assume that. That's just where I was from. And I are now on the same time, and that feels kind of good. But anyway, this is a show I've been doing for quite some time. It is a show about me talking. It is a show about me sharing some feelings, sharing some ups and downs in life, just kind of sharing the roller coaster that can be life. But for those who have been watching a while, you know it is not just a show about me talking. You know it is also a show about me sharing my love of coffee. And I have a nice hot cup of coffee in front of me early on this Monday morning, and I am so excited to take my first sip. My hope is wherever you are, whatever you're doing, that you got a hot cup of coffee in front of you as well. Cheers to us. I think it's a medium roast. It's a hotel coffee, but I brewed it in my hotel, which makes it feel a little special. Staying, where am I? I'm in Madison, South Dakota. Who knew there was a Madison, South Dakota till I didn't know till I came across it yesterday. Good morning, Kelly. And I really enjoyed my stay in Madison. I got in last night at about 6:30, pulled up to a Super 8 motel that I saw. I was looking on the map trying to find a city of any size that might have a hotel. And again, let me tell you, when you're riding through Montana and South Dakota, you're lucky to find a gas station periodically. Hotels are very few and far between. And so anyway, I looked on my little map quest or whatever it is and saw a big glob of a city that was named Madison. I go, hey, I'll go there. Pulled in, saw a little Super 8 motel, pulled into the parking lot, and this is so obvious. I wish I would have thought of this on the way out. It would have been a lot easier finding hotels. Pulled up Expedia, typed in the city I was in, Madison, South Dakota, and did a quick search, and I don't think there was anything available at the Super 8, plus it didn't look that good. But there was one available just a mile away called American, I think it's called. And I've been very pleased, both with the cleanliness, the amenities, and the price. I'll have you know, this could become an American commercial. Good morning, Connie. Connie, that is a perfect way to start the day. Connie's having her coffee on her deck, listening to the birds. Yeah, no, that's nice. Just hearing little songs of birds is such a pretty way to start your morning, and I appreciate you enjoying it. Oh, but let me see, what was I saying? Oh, Madison, South Dakota. I hope it's on the far eastern edge of of South Dakota, because I was riding quite some time through South Dakota. I was in South Dakota all day yesterday. 375 miles I rode through South Dakota. And I don't know. I was thought maybe by chance my path would take me by Mount Rushmore or the Black Hills or one of the more historic or scenic places in South Dakota. It did not. It did not. I was riding through country roads for all day yesterday. Yeah, all day. Again, Pierre, South Dakota looked like a really cute city. Built along the Columbia, or the Missouri River, excuse me. And got a little action going on and some nice homes and nice looking neighborhoods, and thought it was a neat town. But other than that, I'm not sure I had that many memories of South Dakota. It was just kind of one long state. Talked about moving to South Dakota about 8, 9, 10 months ago or something like that. Thought it'd be a good state to go to. I think it's easy wherever you are to think the grass is always greener on at another state, another location, another city. Maybe sometimes it is, and I don't think you should stop looking for green grass. But I think a lot of times where we call home and where we take for granted a little bit is there's a reason we're there. And there's a reason we like it or love it. And I know I miss Chicago, and I'm looking forward to getting back there today or tomorrow. So it's weird for a kid that grew up, spent, I don't know, 12 years of his life living in one of the biggest cities in the world, Chicago, and just spent the last 2.5 months in Wyoming, Montana, and to get to Wyoming and Montana, drove through Nebraska and South Dakota and Iowa. It's just weird how sparsely populated our country is. And when you grow up in the suburbs of Chicago, you think it's just one smear of people from the lake to 50 miles away, from Lake Michigan to 50 miles west and south and north. You assume almost the whole country would be that way. Let me tell you, the whole country is not that way. It's humbling a little bit if you ride across the country and go through these massive expanses of rolling hills or nothingness. And occasionally you'll get to the top of one of these hills, and you almost feel like how one of the pioneers must have felt when you get to the top of, what you saw off in the distance is a hill or a crest or what have you. And you get to the top, and there's just another massive expanse for as far as the eye can see of quiet, nothingness, beauty, peacefulness. I guess you see in it what you want. You can see in it what you want. And as I rode yesterday, I was probably thinking, oh my gosh, this is empty or sparse, and maybe that says the mood I was in. And it's not shocking, because I was probably looking for gas or looking for food. And when you're looking for gas or food, sometimes the Great Plains might not seem as beautiful to you as they might to others when you're watching like Dances with Wolves or something like that, which seems pretty. But I'll tell you, when you're looking for a gas station with coffee and some food, I don't know, the Great Plains can be a lonely spot. Good morning, Dennis. Thank you for hopping on. Emily, I'm doing great. How are you? Thank you for joining. I so appreciate you. I'm in, again, Madison, South Dakota, right on the edge, I think, of Minnesota. I'm 498 miles from my sister's house, where I want to get to by Wednesday. The thought crossed my mind last night. Of making it there today. We'll see how I feel. We'll see how I feel. Did I leave the job? At least you're saying leave the job. Yeah, because I miss my kids. I need to be home with my kids. My kids need me. I need them. I think, okay, Ryan's asking, did I leave the job because I miss my kids? Do I have a job lined up? I've applied for 2 jobs at nice restaurants in the western suburbs of Chicago. I don't want to necessarily be a waiter the rest of my life, but I was waiting tables in Yellowstone at a high level at 40 plus hours a week. And before I went out there, I was concerned that my body could handle the wear and tear of running around for 10 hours a day, serving tables and carrying heavy trays. I took the job because working in a national park, they offered me room and board for $500 a month, and I was going to be able to work in a fairly expensive restaurant. Thought I could make some decent money, save a little bit of money, and cover some of my financial responsibilities. I did all that, and I was able to do that. And but I'm excited to go home. And I've applied for a couple restaurant jobs in Chicago, but it's kind of hard applying for a restaurant job online. And again, not that I necessarily want to be a waiter the rest of my life. I probably don't. I'm 55. I'll be 56 in a couple weeks. Uh, yeah, I probably don't. But I did enjoy a whole lot of aspects of it while I was in Yellowstone, and I realized I was pretty good at it, and I enjoyed meeting customers and talking to people at the table and sharing a laugh and bringing them out food. And I don't know. I found I was good at it, and I enjoyed it, and I worked hard, and I think I was a good example at the restaurant I worked at. I'd pick up garbage if somebody dropped a napkin or a cracker wrapper. I'd be the first to pick it up, and was proud of that. Was proud of that. Yeah, well, Ryan's suggesting a restaurant in Oak Brook. There's so many restaurants in the western suburbs of Chicago. There's so many, and that's kind of what I realized. I go, hey, if I can do it here, I can do it in Chicago. And if I can do it in Chicago, they're fairly expensive. There's a ton of nice restaurants. I can work hard, handle the increased cost of living that Chicago is over living in a national park, and I can be close to my kids. So yeah. How's the hotel? Dennis wants to know. Kelly asks, how's my ankle? I appreciate that. We'll get to my ankle first. I think my ankle's worse than it was 2 days ago. It's swollen. I hobbled around. I got out of bed. I almost fell over. It's okay. Don't worry about my ankle. It's going to be fine. But a lot of times if you injure your ankle, and for those that don't know, I dumped my bike on a gravel path that I was accidentally on, tried to swerve and avoid a pothole, and the next thing I know, I was hitting the rocky gravel road, and was really fortunate. And again, I'll say this, sometimes I'm a little casual with protective gear when I'm riding my motor or my scooter. Sometimes I won't wear a helmet. Sometimes I won't wear a leather coat. Sometimes I'll wear shorts. I've worn flip-flops before. But I'm telling you, I think my rationale is none of that stuff's going to do any good if I'm in like I used to, when I was living in Yellowstone just a few days ago, I'm riding through these mountain passes where if I go off the road, I don't even think the helmet's going to do me a heck of a lot of good. But I'll tell you, on these low speed crashes where you dump your bike, I was really fortunate. I mean, I was to be wearing leather gloves and a leather coat and a helmet and jeans and, a solid pair of tennis shoes at least. I would have been better off with riding boots. My ankle got twisted pretty bad. I mean, I'm not complaining, but somebody asked how it is. It's swollen and sore. And scraped up pretty bad. And I was just lucky I had a thick leather coat on and a helmet. Otherwise, my arm would have been completely torn up, and my jeans, I'll tell you what, didn't completely protect me. My left knee, is still scraped and sore, but without that, I would have lost a lot of skin, and it would have been a lot worse, and I'd be in a lot of trouble. Our Ryan said, going to get an RV still. I'd love to. My first goal is to get home. I have a plan for about the next month of housing, and I need to get a job, and I need to line my ducks in a row, but I'd love to get an RV. How's the hotel? Dennis wants to know. It's great. It was one of the cheapest hotels I stayed in. And it's $99, which, well, I don't know what you think of hotel rates lately, but, but it's clean. It's in a cool little town. It's got, I'd show you the window. It's got the prettiest view. I tell you, 2 nights ago, I stayed in a hotel, and I looked out the window, and it looked kind of scary right out the window. If I look out that window right now, and I'd show you, but it's all steamed up, there's a cornfield right behind me and a little grassy patch. And it's really quite pretty. And it's a really clean hotel. I give it for anybody wondering and sees an American, I don't know if this is just a new hotel, but I'm very, very pleased and very, very happy I found it. And it's affordable, and it's clean, most importantly. It's got a bathtub. It's funny, I stayed in where did I stay last night? I don't remember what I stayed in last night. Maybe it was an Econo Inn or something like that. And it had a shower and it had a bathtub. I'm a guy that likes to take a lot of bathtubs. But it had a weird sort of, was it a parallelogram shaped? It was like, that was the shape of the tub, where it was really narrow on the ends. And it was almost like a triangle where the top was taken off. And it was just a strange shape. And I don't know who designed it. And I'm sure somebody that said, hey, we got this much space, we could give it a bathtub. But it wasn't really very functional. I mean, I used it. I soaked in it. I appreciated it. I thanked the Lord for it. But all the gratitude aside, it wasn't a very practical shape for a bathtub. And I had to kind of wedge my 6'2" body in there and kind of lean on one corner of the triangle shape that it was. Hello from Missouri, Robbie. Do I like corn on the cob? No, RJ, I'm not. I mean, it's okay. I don't want to talk about food too much. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not a huge fan of corn. Like, corn on the cob's kind of messy. I don't like getting messy when I eat. And if I'm going to get messy, it better be really good, like ribs. Barbecue ribs or something like that. Yeah, but corn on the cob's almost as messy, and it always gets stuff in your teeth. And gets you all kind of buttery and greasy. And I think it's just okay at best. I'm not a big fan of corn. We served corn at the restaurant I worked at in Yellowstone. And people would ask me, how's the corn? I go, I can't, it's hard for me to lie. It's hard for me to lie. People that ask how a beer is. I haven't had a beer in almost 3 years. So I never tried any of the beers. I didn't really try any of the foods we served at the restaurant. I certainly did not try the corn. How's the corn? You can imagine I did not sell a lot of corn at my restaurant. So let's have a little more coffee. I think I like working in a higher end restaurant in Chicago. I think it'll offer me, I think because it's in Chicago and there's so much competition, I think the quality of everything's going to have to be raised. When you're in a national park, there's not much competition in terms of other businesses or other restaurants. And, the employees they hire are kind of a mishmash of just people from around the country like me that hadn't waited tables in 10 years and might have been past his prime. So because of that and because of the increased competition, the quality across the board is going to be held to a higher standard. And I think I'm going to look forward to being in that sort of experience in Chicago, close to my kids. Kenny hopped on and said, where am I at now? Well, I'm in South Dakota. I'm 498 miles from my sister's home in Roscoe, Illinois. I was riding yesterday, and I tell you what, one of the hardest things, at least for yesterday, about riding, sure, you're feeling kind of the wind knocking you around and the shaking of the bike, but your butt gets really, 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 really sore. Really, really sore on a scooter. And I rode about 375 miles yesterday. My butt was really, really, really sore. And I was looking for a gas station or somewhere to stretch my legs or somewhere just to get off that. I mean, the seat feels comfortable when you touch it and you squish on it. It feels nice and soft and squishy. But after, 10 hours, you're kind of, and it doesn't feel that safe moving around, getting up and wiggling your butt while you're driving 60 miles an hour on a scooter. it's probably not that safe. So I didn't do it as often as I wanted to, but it's really kind of hard getting comfortable for that long a time on a two-wheeled vehicle on your butt. Tracy from Indiana says, wow, not seen me forever. Hello, Tracy from Indiana. I've been going live on a different social media platform over the last several months. And just over the last couple days, I started bouncing between the other social media platform and back on TikTok just for fun, see how my audience would do. I kind of missed a lot of the names I knew. Missed a lot of the names I knew and wanted to give it a try, so I'm just kind of hopping around. Place called Wildberries. The Ville or Oakbrook are great closer options. As far as for restaurants, oh yeah. There's a million nice restaurants in the western suburbs of Chicago. And in a perfect world, I'd have an RV. And in a perfect world, I'd park my RV somewhere in the western suburbs of Chicago and be able to see my kids several times a week and maybe ride my scooter to, when the weather was nice, to work and work 4 or 5 nights a week. And I tell you this, I know I don't want to, somebody just asked about breakfast, their favorite breakfast place in Chicago. I don't want to work breakfast. I don't want to work breakfast. I don't want to work at a restaurant that serves breakfast. I love going for breakfast. I love omelets. I love hash browns. I like chicken fried steak. Had some delicious one 2 mornings ago. But I don't want to work breakfast. I think the requirements as a waiter are different. I think people generally are coming in to eat and want their coffee and want their juice and want their everything as fast as possible, and really don't want to chat it up with the waiter very much. And as a waiter, my strength is chatting it up. So I felt I was overmatched and underskilled as a breakfast waiter. So I don't want to work where there's a place that serves breakfast. And I don't think any of the higher end restaurants, fortunately, will be serving breakfast where I'm at. So we'll see. Hello, Taurus. A couple thoughts for you. Well, first of all, I pulled in, and what's so neat about doing this, and it's tiring, and it's probably dangerous, and I don't really recommend the whole world hop on a motorcycle or a scooter and ride across the country, because most people would think it's crazy or whatever, and maybe it is. But I'll tell you what, it is a cool way to travel. And I'm looking forward to getting home and pulling into my sister's driveway and being safe and seeing my family and my friends and my babies. But it is a cool way to travel. Yeah. You just experience the country and feel the country and see the country and smell the smells in ways you can't in a car on an interstate. And I just tell you, so many cool little experiences along the way and cool stops and moments of loneliness and moments where I said, hey, I got to pull off the road. Okay, here's a silo in South Dakota. I'm hot, I'm tired, my butt is sore, and I need some water. And pulled in to this little area and got off my bike and took off my helmet and my gloves and just rested for a while, and some guy on some farm machine waved at me that I was probably on his property, but I waved back, and that'll be a memory I savor all my life because I needed rest. I needed off my bike, and I was in the middle of nowhere, South Dakota, and so many neat memories and so many cool stopping points and so many neat, when you're riding your car with your wife or your husband, they're on Expedia, they're on their phones searching up the next hotel. And I'll tell you what, I sometimes wish I would have had that luxury. But I didn't. And it's just harder. But it's also something you feel proud of when you're done, or when you're done with the day, that you made it another day. And you experience cool towns. And again, I didn't know there was a Madison, South Dakota. And it's a neat little town, and it's got a college in it called Dakota State. And I found this little Mexican restaurant. I forget what it was called, but a lot of these restaurants in these little towns, it had kind of a cute downtown, but it was Sunday night, so everything was pretty closed. But I thought I heard some music, and I looked on the door, and it said Sunday, I don't know, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. or something like that. And I pulled on the door, half hoping it'd be locked so I wouldn't have to walk into this Mexican restaurant that, again, didn't look, no big windows, brick building, kind of almost scary. Like I didn't know what to expect as I pulled on the door. And door opened, and I walked in, and there was there was nobody in the restaurant, nobody. And, but it was clean and seemed nice. And I was kind of looking for maybe fast food. But I got to talking to the waiter, and he was a Hispanic gentleman, and we were talking in Spanish, and I was kind of proud that of my knowledge of Spanish, and I think, I don't know, if I was Mexican or an Hispanohablante, and a gringo like me was able to speak Spanish to me, I think I'd think that's pretty cool. And we chatted for a little bit, and decided what exact entree I wanted. And we got a delicious half chorizo, half steak burrito with a green hot sauce spread over the top and cheese with a side of sour cream and a big tray of chips and salsa, and it was delicious. Just for the record, I don't like my burritos as much when they're covered with stuff. I like to pick up a burrito and eat it like that. I wasn't able to do it, and I was a very grateful guest, and he served me some delicious food, and I really appreciated it, and it was really good. So, yeah, let's have a little more coffee. Almost tempted to brew up another pot. When I say another pot, I mean another cup. That might take me away from my valuable show for too long. Maybe I could do it. I'm definitely going to want another cup. I know that much. I like to fill up my thermos before I head out on the road, but you can't really drink your coffee while you're riding a scooter. And I don't like putting it in my trunk because the lid's not working quite right, and I don't want it leaking all over my the contents of my bike. Oh, it's Joe time. I asked if we're on to pumpkin spice yet or too early in the season. Joe, if I had the option for pumpkin spice, I would be drinking the pumpkin spice. Oh, I can't wait. Okay. Somebody, I think RJ yesterday said my sister should pick up a bag of coffee for me, and I said no. I might have to stop at the store and get some pumpkin spice coffee and bring it to her house, because I bet she'd love the pumpkin spice. And she and her kids and my dad, she's helping, I shouldn't take care of my dad, but my dad lives there. And I hope when I'm 84, I would love to be able to live with one of my kids and my grandkids, because that's a great way to. My mom passed about 4 years ago, and I'm sure as we age, life can be lonely. And I'm thankful that my dad gets to live with my sister and her kids in their nice home in Roscoe, Illinois. And yeah, Kenny said I might enjoy truck driving. I would not enjoy truck driving. I like people. Yeah. Oh, Tracy. Well, that's nice for your mom. Your mom's lucky to have you. You must be a good daughter. You must be a good daughter, Tracy. And your mom's lucky to have you, and you're probably lucky to have your mom. So that's nice. One more thought. I was in where was I? No, Pierre, South Dakota, as I said yesterday. Well, that's hard, Tracy. I know how hard that is. So she's lucky to have you, and love on her, because she's not gonna, tomorrow's never promised. And my mom passed from Alzheimer's about 4 years ago, and I know tough that can be. So she's lucky to have you. And thank you for providing that goodness to the world. Loving on your mom in her twilight years. But anyway, I was in Pierre, South Dakota yesterday, the capital of South Dakota. I'm filling up for gas. I'm looking at the McDonald's across the way. I'm not a huge fan of McDonald's. I'm not a huge fan. I mean, it's better than Burger King, but I'm not a huge fan. I know it's not healthy. I do like their large Cokes. Thought about going, decided not to go. But anyway, on the window of McDonald's, it said now hiring. And it said starting at $17 an hour and $1,000 signing bonus. And I'm going, holy smokes. McDonald's is giving people $1,000 signing bonus to work there and paying $17 an hour. In South Dakota. No wonder there's inflation. And no wonder things are so expensive. And no wonder housing is so hard to find. And no wonder everybody I worked with, biggest concern was housing. And no wonder the RV market is crazy, because people can't afford to buy houses. And people can't afford to buy food, because the cost of living has gone up so much. And you'll see and I don't want to be political, but I'll say this. You'll see that inflation's going to only be 2.5% year over year, and that's good. But the problem is, a year ago, we were all shocked with the prices of everything. And that it's 2.5% more means prices have still gone up in the last year. And I was working in Target a year ago at this time, and I was working in the cereal aisle, and people were walking through the aisles going, oh my gosh, I can't believe what a box of cereal cost. And just because inflation has slowed down, it doesn't mean the prices have gone down. It means they've gone up slower, if that makes sense. And Sharon said people don't want to work. That's the problem. I don't know. I want to work. But I know if I worked at McDonald's or Target, I couldn't afford a house, or not even a house, an apartment. Maybe people don't want to work. Maybe. Sharon says it's a career you can tell me. Okay, maybe so. And that's why I'm super confident that I'm going to be able to go in restaurants and say, hey, this is me. I'm going to work hard, have a great attitude. I'm not the best waiter in the world, but I'm sure going to come in with a good attitude and be on time and not miss a shift and do my best every day. And if you want that, hire me. And I think, yeah, that'll be good for me then. Another thing I noticed, as a guy that's been out west, and this is kind of political too, and touches on two subjects I've touched a lot. Many of you know I used to gamble a lot, I used to drink a lot, and I used to smoke a lot of stuff. And there are so many casinos. Every building, every restaurant in the West says, hotel or bar and casino. And there's so many marijuana dispensaries. It must be the national or the state plant of Montana. Every block there'd be one. And I just don't know that having a casino, whether it's just slots in a bar or a restaurant, slot machines, every block, and having a marijuana dispensary every block is good for society. And maybe I'm an old fogey that looks back on a Leave It to Beaver sort of childhood or a Brady Bunch sort of childhood. But I don't know. I know I wasn't my best when I was in a casino. And I just, kind of worries me. Let's see, you guys are talking. Plus the government is taxing you to death. You don't even get with the starting wage. Yeah, I think there's issues. And again, somebody brought up COVID a little bit ago, or said that people don't want to work because they got paid money to stay at home during COVID. I do think that's a problem. And I do think that's a problem. And yeah, again, I just lived in a national park for a couple months, but I do think smaller government, or as small a government as possible, is best. And I think when the government tries to fix things, they end up screwing something else up on the other side of the equation. And costs run out or go crazy, and expenses go crazy, and pretty soon you have casinos on every street corner and marijuana dispensaries on every street. And I don't know, I haven't been all the way west, but I've heard from people that have gone out to California and gone out to Oregon that there's whole huge sections of homeless people. You know, I understand that sometimes life gets you behind the eight ball and puts you in a bad situation, and you got to do what you got to do to survive. But I don't think it should be a goal of ours to have huge homeless encampments or pot dispensaries or casinos everywhere. You know, I like less government, I like less laws. So part of me says, hey, people want to go in them and buy that stuff and do that stuff, we should let them. But I don't know. Joe Time says, Americans are stressed out. It'd be great to return to parades and apple pie. Yeah, I don't know if you can go back. I don't know if it's that easy just to go back. But, you know, I almost did a video. I'm sitting, and it might have been an Indian or Native American Indian reservation, Native American reservation. I apologize to anybody I offend. It might have been on one. But I saw this completely dilapidated car was in my view from the casino to where I was, between me and where I was sitting. And I was looking at this casino and I'm going, huh? You know, these people probably spend their paychecks across the street pulling on the one-armed bandit, hoping to win the big thing, you know, the big money or whatever, and losing all their money and drinking and smoking in a dark room. And that's not a good way to spend your day. But it's 6:45. It's kind of fun having my time right. Again, I didn't change my watch for 2 or 3 months, so I had to deduct an hour. I had to do the math. By the way, I was talking to a young lady I worked with back at Yellowstone, and she's 18, and she asked me, what time is it? Because she didn't have her cell phone on her. And I flipped my wristwatch, and I said, oh, it's 6:45. She goes, how can you tell so fast? And I looked at my watch going, what do you mean? She said it takes her a little while to tell the time on a regular clock. I'm telling you, that can't be a good thing. That can't be a good thing when the youth of America can't tell the time on a clock. I don't know. It seems crazy to me. But anyway, it's 6:45. I appreciate it, Joe. I'm looking forward to my morning. Gonna go get a little food at the continental breakfast down the hall. Going to come back, maybe take a bath or take a shower. Gonna pack up my things, and if God willing, I'll be on my scooter by 8 o'clock, scootering towards home. And I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm really excited about that. And I'm going to enjoy my ride and enjoy my stops and try and make some good time, but not put too much pressure on myself to do any great mileage accomplishment or necessarily get all the way home tonight. And if I want to stop in a few hundred miles, I'll stop at a few hundred miles and I don't know, find a hotel and then finish it up tomorrow, or maybe I'll finish it up today. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know I'm going to get some more coffee and get packed up here and leave the nice little town that is Madison, South Dakota, and get on my bike and head off on my way. And I'm looking forward to my Monday morning, and I hope you're looking forward to your Monday as well. I hope you've had a excuse me, a really nice weekend, and you had a great night's sleep, and yeah, you're feeling good, and I hope you are loving yourself, and I hope you are forgiving yourself. And as always, I hope to talk to you soon. Bye bye.